My mindset flipped from I want to go to these events and do the best I can to I want to go to these events and win.
I'm here today with Team GB and their partner YoungMinds to help celebrate their new campaign, Out in the Open. Do you think that positive self-talk is almost convincing yourself that, yeah, you've still got this?
I remember I read or seen it somewhere that your brain doesn't know when you're lying to yourself. So however you talk to yourself, your brain believes it. All I can really do is look ahead to the next event, and in the run up to that next event, how am I going to treat myself? Am I going to treat myself badly because of this one bad event, or am I going to pump myself back up?
You started to make a name for yourself from young, then you obviously come up, and now you've got some incredible results. It all happens so quickly. Does it feel like for you, in terms of your mindset, does it feel like a different sport? Just because when you now compete with results behind you, how does it feel moving forward from that?
Yeah, it changed it for me. Going fully committing to competing was a big thing for me, and the first ever event I went to with British Cycling went terribly. Crashed both of my runs in qualifying, and I remember thinking, maybe I might not be ready for this. You know what I mean? This was my time to prove my point that I've been working hard, and I didn't get to show it. And then at the next event, the next World Cup, I got podium, and so it was that was where I got to reap the rewards of all this work I was putting in. And I remember the first few events where I did well, I kept thinking I was being seen as a fluke. That was always in my head. I felt like the new kid on the block, and I'd done well a few times, but I hadn't really even to myself, I hadn't proved to myself that this wasn't just a fluke. After that, it got to a point where a few good events turned into doing well at Euros. Current European champion at the time, podium in almost every World Cup. He's on form, and I was like, right, I'll beat him. This is proof to me now. I can do this when I'm preparing right.
Relating to that, I felt I was the underdog in 2012, completely. Going into Olympic Games, I was inexperienced. I wasn't expected to produce any result. And I think that almost that nothing to lose mindset is really powerful. When that switch happens, when you gain results, how have you dealt with that? From coming up from a kid who gets his bike out in a local skate park to now European champion, world champion, competing, mentally, how have you dealt with that?
You'll know yourself when you get introduced with that title.
Yeah.
If you weren't already nervous at the top, the crowd might have never heard of you, but they've said the word world champion, and now the crowd are thinking he's going to be good. So you feel this added pressure, and for me, nerves has always been a big thing for me in events. I still felt so new to it when I'd gained this title. That added expectation, at first was getting to me, and then I kind of figuring out ways to deal with it. For me was seeing it as a bonus. It was a blessing. It wasn't a curse. You know what I mean? I was this is sick. People are expecting things of me now. People expect me to do good, and I want to do good. So why is this stressing me out? I would have loved to have heard that introduction 5-6 years ago when I was trying to quit my job. You know what I mean? I find for athletes, the thing that's going through their head that builds pressure is outside noise of people that they're having to perform for, not themselves. And so now I'm just right, I'm doing this for me. I picked up a bike when I was a kid for me because I enjoyed it, not for anyone else. I'm at this World Cup, or I'm at this competition for my result, not for anyone else, you know what I mean? And that was, once I realised that, now I'm in a lot better of a place when I'm competing.
How do you think you developed that mindset so quickly though? It's really easy to kind of let external pressures come in, whether that's from sponsors, whether that's from just teammates talking, whether that's from anybody. External pressures. How did you develop a mindset where you can just actually take a step back and go in your own shoes so quickly?
A massive part of it for me was the people I'm around. I'm lucky that I'm around amazing people. The guys I train with are some of my best friends, and so there's always a good environment. If I'm dropping in and my heart rate is spiked because I'm so nervous, that's terrible for a physical sport. What I was worried about was what other people would think, and then I was they aren't the one on the bike, they aren't the one putting the work in, they aren't the one who has to do this competition, you know what I mean? And I realised it just didn't make much sense to care about what they thought. Once I realised that, I just had a complete different feeling at the top of the ramp. Yeah. It was only about what I did then. It wasn't about the consequences of anyone else's thoughts. I got into this sport because I love it. I'm not going to be doing it if I don't love it. So just trying to remember that. And now, I think the last few events I've been to, I've been in the best mindset of any.
I think the way you flipped that is amazing. It took me a very long time to kind of just be able to just sit in my own shoes and think, yeah, I'm doing this for me.
I remember when I felt like that at competitions, I was always thinking like, how have these people been competing for like 10 years at the top of their game if they feel like this every time? Everyone looks calm, and so I remember being up there so stressed and thinking, they all look like they're chilling. Like how, like he's competed for 10 years, he's won this many events, he's been to the games, and they all look like they don't care. But everyone does, and I think that was a big thing as well, is when I realized that everyone feels that way. Because someone would come over to me and be like, yeah, I can't believe like how calm you look. Or like my parents would say like, we're so nervous watching and you look so calm, and I'm like, I look calm. Like there's like spaghetti junction going on in my head, you know what I mean? Like, and once I realized that I looked calm to the outside world, I was thinking, right, so he looks calm, but he's going through the same thing.
I can massively relate to that. I think a lot of people say the same thing to me, you look calm, but inside,
it
can be
it's very different.
If you're a competitor that's able to look calm on the surface, embrace all of that, and just take everything in your own stride, go and perform like it's just another thing. You almost just, I think that skill to be able to do that that's where you get the true performers. I think you've been able to crack into that mindset really early on is a huge skill. Has there kind of been any stand-up moments throughout your kind of career? I suppose more recently is more important, where there has been times that you've noticed where confidence has dropped? I
mean, the first event of this year, event of the Olympic year, was in Japan, and I had a terrible result due to like a few different things, like a few bike problems, and you could put it down to whatever you want, but opening my year up before qualification, getting a 20th place finish at an event was a big kick in the teeth for me. Like, to know I had a few months at home to build confidence was perfect, and you don't get that all the time, you know what I mean? We're rarely lucky enough. You know yourself, like being at home with a good training stint, it's not that often in a season, but yeah, I was lucky enough to rebuild that confidence at home around good people. Again, something I read or saw somewhere was about, you know, treat yourself like you would if you're looking after someone. And if I was looking after someone who went through what I just went through, I wouldn't be reminding them every day of that result. I'd be reminding them of the great results they've had and what's to come, and that's what they should focus on. And so yeah, like trying to tell yourself that, like that helped me a lot. Like it was one bad result, yeah. Look to the next thing, like move on.
I feel very lucky to see you do your stuff here today, because I think it looks very different in person. But I've loved chatting to you and diving into your
mate, it's been a good chat. Look forward to post games getting you on a BMX.
We can definitely try something. But no, appreciate it.